Alright folks, welcome back to the channel. This video is long overdue because it's now been over 6 months since I closed on my condo in San Francisco, I believe back in January-ish time frame. And what I want to do today is talk to you guys a little bit about why you should think twice about condo ownership and purchasing a condo in general. I think there's a lot of great reasons to own a condo, but some of the issues that I've encountered and things that have cropped up since my ownership of the condo I think are things that everyone should be aware of. And hopefully you guys can learn from some of my mistakes as I explain them on this video. So first off, I'll address why people are even interested in condos in the first place. So condos are a great way to get started with home ownership. It's a lot less stakes than having to deal with buying a house. You don't have any yard work usually. It's much less of a space, generally speaking. You have less square footage, less cleaning to do, all that. Generally, they're also lower priced, and so that's a great way to get yourself into home ownership if you can't afford, for example, the single family homes in your area, but condos are much more affordable because they have fewer bedrooms and bathrooms. And if you're a single individual or just a couple, I think it might be a much easier way to get into home ownership without having to deal with the hassle of purchasing a single family home, especially at a much higher price point. I think another plus for a lot of people is the proximity to living in downtown. Frankly, there's not many single family homes available for sale downtown. If you're not able to buy a big apartment complex yourself, then I think condos are a great idea. That being said, however, there's a price to pay for condo ownership in many different aspects. But the first I'll get into here is the fact that you're not actually getting a great price, especially considering there's usually a much higher HOA fee. So depending on what the amenities are that are offered at your condo complex, there could be a pool, there could be concierge service, there could be trash pickup, a number of different things that are included oftentimes when you rent an apartment, say. But the HOA fee scales with the amount of amenities that are offered. So you get a pool, you get a sauna, you get a nice gym. These are things that'll add up into your monthly HOA payment. And the monthly price that you see, for example, if you're looking on Zillow for a condo, you're not going to see the HOA price, the HOA fee rather, that's included into the price of your monthly payment, which includes your mortgage, taxes, insurance, all that good stuff. And that's something definitely to consider when you're thinking about whether or not you're actually getting a good deal for the condo that you're buying. So in that, I would say that condos are generally not a good deal because you can get a home for maybe $100,000 less than what you would, a single family home in the same area. But your monthly payments are going to be maybe $800 to $1,000 more per month. And all that money that's going to your HOA fees is not equity you're getting in the property. So at the end of the day, let's say you have a 30-year fixed mortgage, you're not gonna have the same rate of equity appreciation as you would in a single family home, just because the money you're spending, the majority of it is really going towards the HOA, the taxes, things that are not the actual mortgage you're paying off. Now, let's say you're okay with the price, the HOA fee is pretty low. I'm gonna get into some of the things that I've encountered with the HOA and the other issues that have come up with condo ownership with my condominium here in San Francisco, rather not here, but in San Francisco in the neighborhood of Nob Hill, for those of you that are familiar. We'll start with the first one, which is HOA related. And this is also included with single family homes, but again, HOAs are much more prominent and much more expensive with condos as they do a lot more of the work. And their building ownership, the responsibility of the work and maintenance falls under the HOA. So the first one is that there are a ton of special assessments. So for those of you that don't live in a condo or aren't aware of what a special assessment is, it's basically a way of them slapping a fee to all the owners or a specific owner, usually all the owners of the condos, just because they feel like it. No, I'm just kidding. Not just because they feel like it, but because there's some sort of thing there's something that they need to pay for as an HOA that they're deciding that, well, now it's all the homeowners' responsibility to pay for these things, even though we have an HOA and we have a finance person that's supposed to do the budget and figure out what they can pay for based off of what they're paying monthly through their HOA fees. If any of you out there have owned a condo, you're very well aware of what special assessments are and how they hit you with them constantly all the time. And this is one of the biggest issues I have with HOAs because they can levy fees whenever they feel like it. And if you don't pay it, then you're gonna be not in compliance with the CC&Rs, you're not gonna be in compliance with the HOA, you're gonna run into more issues that way. So you don't really have much leverage when it comes to the HOA levying extra fees on you, which is what a special assessment is. It's just an extra fee. for simply living in the condo, and it could be something completely out of your control that you just have to pay for because they decided that it's on you to do that. The second big thing I'll bring up that's HOA related is deferred maintenance. Now I'll give you a specific example. With my unit in San Francisco, in my condo in Nob Hill, you would think it's a nice area. Generally the HOAs are pretty good about fixing things. Granted, my HOA is literally $810 a month, which is more than what I was paying for rent in college. But nonetheless, I'm paying $810 a month for HOA, and yet they're still not willing to fix the freaking windows in my unit. So basically one of the window latches doesn't fully close, and so you can basically push the window out from the inside, or if you pull it from the outside, you can kind of access the inside of the unit. And so that's number one, a security concern. And two, that's just sloppy, and I pay all this money for this HOA. There are no amenities. There's literally a rooftop where there's patio furniture that I think an owner probably put out there. And they maybe clean the elevators and stairwells once a month. So I'm paying all this money, yet there's all this maintenance, not only in my unit, but probably to the entire building itself that's deferred, that hasn't been done. And it leads me to believe there may be other major issues that need to be addressed that the HOA just isn't taking care of because of their lack of urgency to take care of things as simple as a window or a window latch. These things really bother me because as a homeowner, here in Texas, if I had a window that wasn't working, I would fix it the same day, right? If it was a major issue that I didn't know how to fix myself, I would, make a temporary fix. Like if my gutter was falling off like it was before after a heavy rainstorm here, I drilled it in myself with a screw, and so I made sure that it was held up in the meantime before a contractor was able to come out and get that taken care of. So these are things that, just you can't deal with yourself because as a condo owner, the HOA has the responsibility to maintain the common areas, the foundation of the building, the garage, the laundry room, all these things. And so you can't physically do it yourself or else you'll be in major trouble. And so it's up to them to do it, and it's up to their timeline as to when they want to get it taken care of. Okay, the next one here is very simple. It's increased dues. So when I first purchased my condo, this was with a different HOA actually. And so this also goes without saying, but when you purchase any building, when you purchase any unit or a single family home, even if it has an HOA, you want to make sure that you understand the bylaws, the CC&Rs, and you talk to at least the property manager to get an idea for what the HOA is like. And so I did that, but the problem is that the HOA changed right when I moved in. And so I had no control over that because I'd already been in the process of closing on the property. I didn't want to lose my deposit. And at the time, the HOA fee was, I believe, $650 a month, which again, in San Francisco, everything's just ridiculously expensive. So what can you expect, right? But they raised it from $650 a month to $810, what I'm paying now, a month, which I think for a building with no amenities, even in Nob Hill, it was a 1950s building that was built, I really don't think what I'm paying for the unit warrants an $810 monthly payment just to the HOA to do what? And so recently we had HOA board elections, and so I certainly voted for new people to come in and make some changes and take care of all the deferred maintenance. But again, raising the HOA fees that much when it's already, what I feel like is already pretty high for a building that doesn't have amenities is something that you should be aware of that they can do at will. Because unless you're on the board, the homeowners, I don't believe, vote on whether or not the HOA fees should be increased or decreased. That's more of the treasurer and the HOA board responsibility. And because I'm not physically there in San Francisco, it would be silly of me to be on the board, so I didn't, opt for that. But nonetheless, raising rates essentially of what you're paying for the HOA fee every month is a huge pain in the ass, and if you don't want to deal with that, don't buy a condo. Okay, so this next one, I'm gonna try to stay calm because all of these things are frustrations of mine. But again, I want you guys to be aware of them, so before you buy a condo, you don't have to encounter these things, or that you're aware of them before you do. Now, the next one is the property manager at my building. I don't know if he's at my building because he actually is never there, but he definitely doesn't live there because whenever I've asked him if the elevator's working, he doesn't seem to know. And he'll claim that I haven't followed up with him about something or I was supposed to do something when it's his responsibility as a property manager. That's literally your job, is to maintain the property and be the liaison between the HOA and the homeowners. This guy, and if he's watching this video, you need to get your shit together. That was a little aggressive. So I don't know where they found this guy to be the property manager of a condo in San Francisco, let alone a property manager of anything. He's very unresponsive. As you guys know that live in apartment complexes, you have property managers as well. And maintaining the building or any issues that come up in your unit in the apartment, well, the property manager has to be on top of it. And so even though he does nothing inside the unit or has no responsibility for what goes on inside my unit, which is thank goodness, but even on the outside, when I have deliveries for appliances, when there's issues with parking, he just is a little slow. And you know, it's really frustrating because I pay all this money to this HOA to take care of these things, or at least there's an expectation of an effort put in to communicate with the contractor, with the elevator company, with whatever is going on in the unit or with the building. There was, even like a break-in, because it's San Francisco, happens all the time. They decided to change all the locks on everything ever. And basically there was no way of getting your key except this 30-minute window that he sent out an email for 30 minutes prior. So I don't know what he expects people are doing during the day if they just all are work from home and never leave the building, or that nobody has tenants, nobody goes to work. This guy is just pretty incredible, and I'm trying to vote him out as a property manager to get someone that's actually competent and willing and able to do their job as a property manager to be in that position. So having a good property manager is very critical when living in a condo, just because of the fact that the building is not yours. And again, the maintenance, that's deferred or not, falls under the responsibility of the HOA. And the property manager is supposed to manage these things. So definitely, if you can, try and have a conversation with that property manager, get to know who he is, who she is, whether or not they are willing to do their job even. And you'll kind of get that communication flow from your experience actually looking at the property and calling and asking different questions. So definitely do your due diligence about that, because unfortunately, if they change it up on you like they did with me, I'm stuck with this guy who has no idea what he's doing and should not be in this position. So this part of the video is now going to transition a little bit more into if you want to do work on your condo. I know for a lot of you guys out there that may be real estate investors that are buying your condo with the intention to flip, which I highly do not recommend, as I'll get into that in a later video. But for the purpose of this video, I just want to talk about the pain that it is to do any work to your unit because it's in an HOA and because it's in a building where the condo is literally part of this building, okay? So, for example, in real life, I bought this condo back in January, okay? I think it was either December, January timeframe. Closing took a little bit longer than expected, and I wanted to get started on getting this place fixed up the way that I like. Before I started the project, when I first toured the place, I got it on an off-market deal, which is great. At the time, at least, it was for a decent price off-market, not on the MLS. And it was definitely an older unit, hadn't been renovated in a very long time. Like I said, the building was built, I believe, in the 1950s. Pretty typical for a lot of the older buildings, especially in the city of San Francisco. But a lot of the things were very old, and I wanted to get them taken care of, do a renovation of the unit. And if the opportunity arose to sell the unit at that point, I would do that. And generally for you guys out there that have done flips before, you know that a flip project takes between 3 to 6 months for a smaller unit, for a single family home that's a little bit smaller, and then up to a year, longer than that for bigger projects. Getting this project approved by the HOA took damn near 4 or 5 months. Not because there were issues with the application, because there were issues with the contractor, the insurance, and different things with what I was doing to the unit. We literally got permits from the SFDBI, which is the Department of Building Inspection in San Francisco, and yet this condo HOA was just unresponsive and not willing to play ball, basically, because of whatever the reason might be. I don't know. Also partly because this property manager literally is the worst communicator of all time. And because of that, here we are in, was it July? No, it's August now. And rates have gone up, nobody's looking to buy, and that's a whole different thing. I'm not gonna get into that. But so you guys are aware, getting work approved in your unit can be a huge pain. And so if you're planning on getting work done to your unit, let's say you're flipping it or you wanna do renovations to make your place nicer, that's your intention when you move in, you wanna make sure that you talk to the HOA about that before you move in and get an idea for whether or not they're gonna be okay with the work that you wanna do, just so you don't end up buying the unit and then you wanna do these things and they can't approve it or it's gonna take forever and all this. So definitely do your due diligence again with that before you purchase the place. Just know that if you do end up doing a project with a condo, it can take much longer than expected. If you guys have gotten this far in the video, definitely please leave a like because this video is helpful if it was. And just know that if you've been following the rest of my videos or have watched the apartment videos that I've made in the past, I will make a comprehensive review and kind of overall summary of my experience with my condo in San Francisco with regards to the investment that it is, or if you want to call it that, and basically summarize what I expect to be essentially the loss that it's going to be when I sell a unit. Fingers crossed that it won't be, but I need to be realistic with myself given the market conditions now. And that's a video that I'm planning on making here in the next couple weeks because I'm actually getting ready to list it and put it back on the market now as it's, again, buying season after the summer. Regardless of the fact that rates are going up, after the summer is a better time for buyers in general. Now, if it's not already clear to you guys, I am not going to buy another condo probably ever unless there's a $100 HOA, the HOA is only my friends, or I'm the chairman of the board or something like that. HOAs are not great, and especially in condos, there's a lot of issues related to the fact that it's in a building where you're sharing it with other units, and this HOA has the responsibility for a lot more than you would expect. So hopefully that helps you guys out a little bit. As always, I'm just trying to make sure you guys don't make the same mistakes that I do. There's a lot of things to learn in life, and this is some of the knowledge that I have right now just because I have the condo right now. And if there's any more knowledge that I can share or questions that you guys have, drop in the comment section below. I'll do my best to help out where I can. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you all in the next one.